All right, what is good, ladies and gentlemen, is the Master Reviewer back again with another review, and today we are doing a review for Ninjago Shadow of Ronin. This is the video game that takes place in between the events of Ninjago Season 4 and Season 5, and so I decided that I was considering maybe just grouping this in with the actual Season 5 review, but then I decided against that. I decided, you know what, it feels like its own property, and so we'll just do a video game story review for it, and so that is what we're doing, and yeah, let's just get into it. So, like I said, this takes place in between the events of Ninjago Season 4 Tournament Developments and Season 5 Possession, and technically it's not canon to the story because there are inconsistencies that line up with the actual story, where the fact that in Season 5, Nia and Wu, they don't actually know who Ronin is. At least that's from what I read online. Like, I wanted to check to see if it's canon, and from what it said, like, they don't remember who he is. From what I remember from the show, that sounds correct, but I'll just take Google's pre-rendered answer for word, I guess. So, yeah, it's not canon, but it's like, it technically feels like it a lot of it lines up with the actual main story, where in Season 5, the ninja already know who Ronin is, and so this does kind of make sense of like how they would have initially met Ronin. So the plot of the story is that it's a pretty short story for all intents and purposes. It's basically just that Ronin, he steals the ninja's memory, and so it's kind of split up into two parts, I would say. The first part is that you have Ronin, who he steals the ninja's memory, and so the ninja end up having to go after Ronin steals the ninja's memories, and so then they meet this prisoner named Hibiki, I think his name was, and they ask him, how do we get our memories back? He says, okay, go to the toxic bog, drink this special tea. And so that's what they do. And so they get these visions of that they're supposed to go get these obsidian weapons from the same place where they got the golden weapons. I'm pretty sure, like, I know that they go to the fire temple, the ice temple, the caves of despair. I'm pretty sure the floating ruins. So it's, for some reason, I guess that's another reason why this wouldn't really be canon, because it feels kind of weird that both the obsidian weapons would be in the same location as the golden weapons. So anyway, they go to their respective locations, they end up getting their obsidian weapons, and when they get the obsidian weapons, they do end up getting their memories back. And that is basically the first half of the game, kind of. And then the second half is that there are these forges that are introduced, which are basically these tiny crystal things that Ronin is trying to collect in order to basically bring back Chen. That's like his main goal. He was, I guess, hired by Chen somehow. I'm assuming maybe, I don't know, Klaus sent a message to him saying like, hey, we'll pay you if you free us from the cursed realm, something like that. So he is trying to free Chen from the cursed realm. So in order to do that, he needs to get the forges from so I assume he probably took the ninja's memory initially so that they wouldn't interfere with his plans. So basically his goal is to get the forges. So then the second half of the game is going after the forges. So Ronin already has the lightning forge, and so you go after the fire and ice forge, and then Ronin got the earth forge in the meantime as well, and then he ends up getting all four forges when Dareth confronts Ronin. Dareth is also a part of this game, like in a decent size, like he has some decent screen time in this game. So yeah, Dareth tries to confront Ronin. He fails to do so. He combines the powers of fire and ice and just makes water, and so then Ronin shocks him, and so he gets all the forges. But then they go after the final part. He still needs to get the I forgot what it was called, the obsidian fulcrum, I'm pretty sure it was called. So they have to get that in order. He needs that as well in order to complete the ritual, in order to bring back Chen. And so he ends up going for that, as well as the ninjas are also going for that. And then little do they know, they enlist Misako's help, but then Misako is secretly being controlled by Ronin, and then she tricks them into hitting the fulcrum, which ends up causing them to get captured temporarily. And so then Ronin steals the fulcrum, and so then the ninja, their goal is basically now, okay, well, we lost the forges, we lost the fulcrum, we're gonna have to go after Ronin directly. And so they go to Chen's Island, and at Chen's Island, Ronin is performing the ritual that he needs to do in order to bring back Chen. He's doing it for the money, like that's the entire game. Like, he's basically saying like, oh, I know, like, I'm doing this for the money, a man has debts and stuff, and this is gonna make me rich. So that is like in line with his character. I mean, this is the first time we're really seeing his character, but it is in line with his character kind of in the future. So, and then, so Ronin performs the ritual, uses the forges, uses the obsidian fulcrum, and then opens a portal, I think, to the cursed realm. It's not exactly like the cursed realm, but it is somewhat, I think, somewhere in between, I guess, Ninjago and the cursed realm. So he ends up opening the portal there, and that's where the final confrontation happens. And while the ninja are there, they manage to destroy the forges. They manage to destroy the fulcrum as well, and so they manage to save the day. Chen did not end up escaping from the cursed realm. Ronin ends up getting away in his ship and to show up, I guess, in a future in the future seasons of the actual show, even though it's not technically canon. But I don't know, it's like, I always say like canon until proven otherwise. It's been proven otherwise, so, but in this case, I don't know, you can kind of like still justify a lot of the events that happen here, so as being canon to the main story, because I don't know, you can say like, oh, it wouldn't make sense that Nia or Wu, they don't know who Ronin is going into season 5, but at the same time, like, there are some inconsistencies that still don't make sense about how Lloyd he got older, but he doesn't remember about the mega weapon and stuff. So like, there's a lot of stuff that you can point in the show of like, hey, that doesn't make logical sense. So anyway, so overall, the plot of the story is, it's like decent. I'll say it's a 5.5. It's not really, it's very basic, and it does feel like kind of a bit repetitive in terms of we're going after the 4 different weapons for each ninja, and then we have to go after the 4 forges. And it is kind of replaying the same notes that you had in season, I think it was the pilot season, where it was they already went after the golden weapon, so it does feel like a bit not original. And I know that the story is not really meant to be the whole focus, because it is a video game, obviously, so a lot of it is meant to just be, it's supposed to be level designs, and like you're supposed to just have fun with the game itself, and so it's fine if it's like a repeat of just a plot that we've had before in the context of the world of Ninjago, but I'm rating just the story here, not the actual game. So yeah, I'd say a 5.5. It's decent. It's fine. It's like very just not the most, it's simple, just a vehicle in order to give players levels to play in. So in terms of the characters, you do have the 4 main ninja. They have different voice actors because this is not the main series. I think all the voice actors do a good job, I would say. I don't have any complaints about the voice acting. You do have all the ninja. It is a shame that Lloyd, he only shows up like towards the end. It is mainly just the 4 main ninja of Kai, Zane, Cole, and Jay. And Lloyd only shows up towards the end when they go after the obsidian fulcrum, I'm pretty sure. So it's a bit of a shame that we don't get to see as much of him. Besides him, there is Nia and Wu. They're in this, that they're good, I guess. Misako is also in this for a bit. She's just being controlled by Ronin. Dareth is fun, you know. Dareth has a bit of time in this game, which I do appreciate. It's always fun to see more Dareth. And Ronin as a villain, I would say he is good. I kind of like him, though, a bit more in the show. I do think that in the show he does end up, like, where the next review is going to be probably for, like, the next review I do. I don't know what the next review I'm going to do is, but the next Ninjago review I do is going to be for season 5. And I think that he is much more, I'd say he's more, like, charming and charismatic in the show, where in the video game here, he feels much more malicious and villainous and just trying to ultimately, like, selfish and going after his own goals, which, like, he is that in the show as well, but he feels more charming and a bit less over the top and dramatically villainous, I'd say. So overall, the characters, I would say that the characters are, I'd go pretty good, I'll say. Yeah, 7 out of 10. I enjoy them. Yeah, the settings, you do have a lot of settings that we've seen before, specifically the areas that the ninja originally went to go get the golden weapons. So you do have a repeat of the fire temple, as well as the ice temple, the caves of despair, the floating ruins, and besides that, you do have some other areas that we've seen before as well. Ed and Edna's scrapyard. You have the monastery, I think, that the ninja train in. I'm not sure if it's the monastery. I think it's somewhere near the monastery at the very least. So you do also have Chen's temple, which makes a return. The last thing that would have happened canonically, if this was canon, would have been Chen's tournament of elements. So I guess seeing it again so soon is, nice. It's Chen's Island is a cool place. So besides that, is there anything else really? Any other settings worth mentioning? Not that I can really think of. So yeah, overall the settings I would give probably I'll go like a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10, I don't know, maybe a 6 out of 10. Yeah, we'll go 6 out of 10. I'll say the settings are above average, I'll say. It's a lot of repeat locations, nothing really new, I'd say. So yeah, in terms of the art style, so the cutscenes, I would say the animation looks better than the art style. The art style does look a bit not the best, but I would say that the animation does make up for it, where the movements of the characters do feel very smooth. So in terms of the animation, I do like the animation, but the art style, I would just give the art style probably like a 5.5, I'd say, like decent, not really the greatest or anything. So In terms of the worst thing I would say is just I would say the repetitiveness of like how we've kind of seen some of this before. Like, by the way, this is a rewatch, like the whole game for me. I did watch the all the cutscenes when I was younger, around the time that it probably came out, which was 10 years ago, by the way. It's insane how over 10 years ago, I think. So I really feel like I'm getting old. So yeah, but the worst thing I would say is probably just a bit of the repetitive nature. It does feel a bit like we're copying plot points from like that the ninja have already gone on, like specifically with going after all the weapons, where this feels like a direct copy of just we're going after the golden weapons, but instead now it's obsidian weapons. So I would say that is probably like a 4.5. I'd give that like not good. I'd rather they kind of went with something a bit more original. So yeah. In terms of the best thing I would say is I guess just the characters. Once again, that's the best score. Yeah, I give the characters, so I'll give the characters a 7 out of 10 once again. I do enjoy the characters of this game, and they are fun to follow along with, so I'll just read the score for the characters, I'd say. So yeah, that is all the scores, so I'm going to do the calculations. So King Crimson. Alright, so it ends up coming out to about a 6 out of 10, which would be above average, and I think I would probably give it like maybe a bit lower than that, like maybe like a 5.5 to, I'd say it's like a 5.5 at least, and I think I'm going to be harsh with that. I'm just going to call it a 5.5. I think it's decent. It's like definitely, I guess it's worth seeing. If you're a fan of Ninjago, definitely it's probably worth seeing. It's not too long as well. Like all the cutscenes in total, it's like less than an hour and a half. I think it's like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. So it is definitely something that if you want more context to, I guess, Ronin's character, especially if you go into season 5 not really knowing who he is, it does provide a bit more context to like who he is, and I guess how his relationship and how it is with the, like, how he's connected to the ninja, I guess. So overall, I'll say like a 5.5, decent. I'll say not really, doesn't really compare to the show as much. Like it's not as good as the show, I'd say, but definitely like 5.5, not something I would really pass up on. Like if I'm doing a binge rewatch of all the series, then I would definitely go back and rewatch this, I'd say. So, which I've done in the past, I'm doing now. So yeah, but yeah, that is pretty much all there is to it. So if you have any recommendations, any shows, movies, video game stories, anime, web series, anything that you want me to review, leave it in the comments and I will maybe possibly check it out. But with that said, that is pretty much all there is to it. So let's leave it at that.